Okay, I'm live.
I'm live.
All right, hey guys, welcome back. Week 6 recap. Wow, 6 weeks in. We have a
It's
special
crazy.
guest today. We have JT joining us, first guest appearance on the show, so welcome, JT. Um, I think we should talk a little bit. We're a good way through the season, just real quick, because I realize not everybody knows everybody else in this league. So I think JT being here, this presents a good opportunity to kind of introduce who everybody is in the league. So we're just running down the standings right now, and we'll do that real quick too. At the top, SV
Do you
team.
have to do that, Calvin?
Yes,
Really?
we do. We do. You're not last though, so it might be close, but you're not last. So at the top, SV team. That is Shannon Valdez. She is a friend of my sister Melissa, close friend. I'm in second place here. Third place is Moon. That's James Moon. He is
Jimmy.
Jimmy, as we affectionately call him. Um, Kate and I knew him from our last accounting firm. We've known him for a few years now. Fourth, MF's mother Tuckers. That is my sister Melissa. MF is her initials. Um, Fifth is Chad. That's you, obviously. Sixth is Ashley, my wife. Seven is Scott's Eagles. That is Ashley's dad. Um, Not Chad's dad. Chad's not related to Scott, but that is
Nope.
Ashley's dad. Eight is Soyjoy. That's Kate. Kate is obviously one of our coworkers. Known Kate for a long time. Nine, Be More Justin. That is Ashley's oldest brother and Chad's oldest brother too. 10, Hingle McCringleberry. That is Henry. Henry is from the same firm as James. That's how we know him. Kate and I know Henry through the last firm. 11, JT. That's you. We obviously work together now, not previously, although we almost did by about a week or a month, whatever we said it was. And then last place at 12, still winless. Only team winless is Only Makes Boys. That is Chris Valdez. That is husband of Shannon, who's in first place. So husband and wife are bookending the standings here at first
So it
and
won't
12th
matter
place.
who wins then,
Yeah,
because either way,
exactly. So, um, just real quick, Shannon, I think for the third week in a row, I think we just said she got the highest score 3 weeks in a row. That's pretty impressive. Her team's just killing it this year. Couple other solid performances. Melissa had 172 points. Justin had 170. Really sucks for Justin, who's now 2-4 and down in ninth place because he had a great week. Would have beaten 9 out of the 12 teams, but he happened to play second place, which is always terrible. But again, I talk about it every week. Uh, the advantage this year of having the sixth seed for the playoffs be based on points scored is that if he keeps putting up good weeks, he can still make it in, even if he's down in ninth or 10th place in the standings. That's kind of what's happening with Ashley right now. She's down in sixth place, but she has the third most points scored.
here's the thing: if Shannon's the highest score, do we ignore her for that?
Well, she's automatic. So basically, at the end of the season, 1 through 5 in the standings make the playoffs. Doesn't matter who it is, whatever. It's all based on
Right.
wins and losses. And then we look at the remaining 7 teams. Of those 7 teams, whoever has the highest
Okay.
points gets that sixth seed.
So if Shannon's the highest, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter because she's already going to be in
Okay.
first place or whatever
Gotcha.
place she happens to be. If she's in the top 5 teams, she's going to be. If Shannon somehow fell outside of the top 5 but had the most points, she would get that sixth seed.
Right.
But given how her team is doing, I don't see that happening. So, okay, let's jump into the matchups here. We'll start with Ashley and Jimmy. Man, Derrick Henry. Wrong tab there. Derrick Henry, like,
Cheat code.
he really is. He is this year's Christian McCaffrey, 2019 Christian McCaffrey. Who was last year's Christian McCaffrey and/or Derrick Henry? What would you guys say?
It was Kamar, right? He finished as one.
He did, but like the fact that we couldn't remember that right away, to me says he didn't have a standout year. Like he finished his first, but having to stop and think about it kind of tells me that it's nothing like 2019 McCaffrey or this year Derrick Henry, who is the number one running back on the season by far. He's just insane. Like Bill's defense is pretty good.
It's not even close.
It's not even remotely close. I mean, I think number 2 is still Austin Eckler, but Austin Eckler had a terrible week. So Derrick Henry had 3 touchdowns in this game, like against a good Bills defense. Defense had to shut down 2 teams entirely, and they gave up 3 rushing touchdowns to Derrick Henry, including one that was like 75 yards or something like that. and he hit
Yep.
the highest top speed in the league. It's like there was one play. I don't know if you guys watched this game, but at one point he's breaking off a run, and all of a sudden there's just one defender just between Derrick Henry and the end zone. And if I'm that guy, if I'm that defender, and I see Derrick Henry barreling down at me, I think I'm pooping my pants. Honestly, like the guy, I don't remember his name. It might have been Micah, something Micah. He made the tackle to his credit, but like, how do you not fear for your life when you are? He was on an island. Like if Derrick Henry gets past that guy, he's breaking off another 60-yard touchdown. And
Yep.
just man, what a machine. For fun today, UA and I were talking, and I went back and looked up Derrick Henry's stats. You know, he had 12,000 plus yards in high school. That's over 3,000 yards a season. He had like 150 touchdowns or something like that. It's absolutely insane.
They made a rule for him too,
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah, they did. I think that was the eighth grade rule. What was it like? If they were up so many points, Derrick Henry had to sit out or something along
Yeah,
those
something
lines.
like
Yeah,
that.
that's just how good he is. Um, anyways, okay, let's talk about this matchup finally outside of Derrick Henry. Ashley had a solid week here. Kind of a low-scoring game, all things considered. Jimmy's team sort of fell apart outside of Derrick Henry. Ashley had an okay game here. I don't know if there's anybody really need to talk about specifically. Um, Jimmy
Just
had a nice
average.
fill-in from it's just all average performances. Jimmy had a nice pickup there in Khalil Herbert, third-string running back for the Bears. With Montgomery going on IR, with Damian Williams being out with COVID, that was sort of a nice pickup and fill in there, 19 points, 100-yard game from him. Otherwise, yeah, everybody was kind of average. I don't see much on the bench here worth talking about. Lamar had a mediocre game despite obviously the Ravens kind of blowing out the Chargers in this game. It was just the running backs coming through for once this season. Um, each of them got a touchdown. Did you guys see that? All three running backs for the Ravens scored a touchdown. That's
Yeah, they all scored.
kind of crazy. Okay, let's move on to the next matchup there.
Real quick,
Oh,
what do
go
you
ahead.
think? What do you think is wrong with Waller? He is garbage.
That's a great
The
question.
past, besides week one.
His volume's been fine. He's had 7 or more targets in almost every game. I just think it's Carr maybe. I'm not sure. I wouldn't be worried if I was a Darren Waller owner. Like he's
Oh,
still.
I would be.
I mean, yeah, you're not getting what you got week one. You're not getting the draft capital return. But like, what tight ends are you getting that from right now outside of Kels? You're not getting it from Kittle. You're not getting it from Hawkinson. You're not getting it from. I mean, Mark Andrews is the only other one, right? Mark Andrews and Kels are sitting alone right now at the top. So you take what you can get.
Mark Andrews is definitely outplaying. He's overplaying where you drafted him.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I don't think anyone expected him to be where he is right now and what he's done.
Absolutely. I think Mark Andrews went pretty high in our league. I think Shannon took him in like the 4th round, when he had probably like 5th round ADP. So, as a Ravens homers, it's not surprising that she took him early, but she's getting a return for that value. I mean, Mark Andrews has been phenomenal these past couple of weeks. So, I expect Waller to bounce back. I think he'll have better weeks. Again, the volume's there. Outside of that, I can't really say what's going on, but I wouldn't worry too much. Julio, just real quick, while we're talking about people who are disappointing, like, what do you do with this guy at this point? Like, he hasn't been good for fantasy, save 1 week. He's always hurt. I mean, that's why they call him Julio, right? Because he's just sub out the J for a Q because he's always questionable. Um,
Never heard of that one.
he's almost droppable, right? Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
he's a
wouldn't.
walking groin injury.
He really is. I mean, a walking hamstring injury, basically. Like, he's always beat up. So, I don't know. I had low hopes for Julio this season, coming to a new team. I mean, losing that mind meld connection with Matt Ryan, and so far he's kind of living up to my low expectations. But I guess you just sit on him for now. You can't get rid of a guy like that. So, anyways, okay, moving on to the next matchup here. Let's talk about. I have it as Justin and Melissa, our highest scoring matchup of the week here. Like I said, unfortunately, Justin lost here by a little less than 2 points, about 1.5 points. Had a really good week. Just standout, solid performances from everybody. I think this was Stephon Diggs' best week. He looked pretty good last night. He always looks
really
good, but he was getting the targets, he was getting the catches. Just good all around. Mike Evans, disappointing game Thursday. I don't think I've ever really loved any of the Tampa Bay receivers. I mean, when it was just Godwin and Evans, I liked Godwin. But now that's all three. Like, what do you do with these guys? You just start them every week and just cross your fingers?
Yep.
Yeah. Like, that's unfortunate.
You don't
like
fit
the
them.
Steelers if they're all healthy. Yeah.
See, though, with the Steelers, though, like, I will confidently play Deontay every week, no question about it, and I will
You would
be.
sit Juju.
Oh yeah, Juju like doo doo. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing. There's some clear cut decisions when it comes to the Steelers receivers, in my opinion. You got Chase Claypool as the big play guy, Deontay is the volume guy, and Juju as like the turd. But like with the Tampa Bay receivers, it's like they're all good, and you don't know which one's going to be the guy that week. So it's just tough. They're all probably going to finish about the same. They could all have over 1,000 yards. I could easily see that happening. But you're going to get these weeks from them. Mike Evans has otherwise been pretty good this season. Only two games under 10 points. So you just move on from that. Everybody else on this team, Darrell Williams, he picked up for a chunk of fab. You guys remember what he spent? We talked about this.
70, right?
Oh my God, was it 70? Whew. Okay.
Was it 70, 50, something like that?
Yeah, wow, expensive pickup. Well, you know what? Hey, it paid out for him here. He had 24 points in this game. I think I saw some stats that Darrell Williams' usage was like just already better
Crazy.
week one than Clyde Edwards-Hilaire's was. Like snap percent was up, target share was up, just everything was up compared to Clyde. So that kind of sucks if you're a Clyde owner, because then what do you do with Clyde when he comes back? Like Gesicki had a great game here. Basically, everybody on this team had a pretty good game. Talk about Melissa's team real quick. Kyler Murray, man, I feel like Kyler Murray's got to be top running for MVP right now. He's just so good, you know. I wish I had him on the team. I'll just say that much. Tyreek, everybody on the team here, or her team, solid week. Najee, I love Najee too. I want to talk about Najee for a second. He's probably top 3 or 4 running back on the season, if I had to guess, just because after week 1, he scored like 20 points or more every single week. I mean, he just, even if he's not getting a ton of
The
yards,
volume.
yeah, it's the volume, right? He can finish with like 50 or 60 yards, but if he gets a touchdown and like 6 or 7 catches, well, boom, well, there you go. PPR league, he's got 20 points. So that's what I love about Najee. This is what everybody drafted him to be. Remember last year how Clyde went in round 1 and then he like disappointed?
Which is crazy.
Yeah. Najee is this year's Clyde, and it paid off. I have him in our other league, and I am very happy with him. Cole Beasley, nice game there too. Zach Ertz, interestingly enough, we're going to see how Zach Ertz does in Arizona. It's going to be kind of fun to watch. Kind of taking the Max Williams role after Max Williams got hurt. So we will see. Kind of have some high hopes for him, actually. High-powered offense, certainly better than the Jalen Hurts-led Eagles. Can't be a downgrade. AJ Green on his bench. Okay. Anything else about this game you guys want to mention?
Nope.
So congratulations, Melissa. Unfortunately, you just missed out on the high score of the week, but a solid win nonetheless. She is now 4-2. Justin's now 2-4. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about Henry and you, Chad. Why don't you start here? Talk about your team.
Just the one person who I have in multiple leagues and I love is Cooper Kupp. 130 yards, 2 touchdowns on 9 catches. I mean, is he wide receiver 1 on the year now? Is he back up there?
That's a good question.
He's top 3. I think
Yeah,
now
he's got to be.
this game.
I mean, who else would be up there? Just if we're just spitballing it. I mean, who would you guys put possibly above him? Debo? Mike Williams?
Well, Debo had a bye week, so I don't think he's there.
Okay, yeah, he's probably dropped off now. But Mike Williams? I mean, Mike Williams has had 2 down games.
I
But
don't
he's had
even know.
some like really big games. I bet it's got to be Cooper Kupp. I can't think of anybody else who's
Yeah.
really up there.
Yeah, so having him, I love it. Just every week knowing that the ceiling is crazy. And then Dalvin Cook, he had a couple full practices, came back, obviously took over Madison. Madison had like 3 touches, so
Yep. Yeah,
just very happy.
it's kind of interesting. Like they don't, not to cut you off. Madison has proven himself at this point, right?
Yeah.
So you would think they would kind of split carries. Like look at the Cowboys, right? Like Pollard has proven himself as an asset to the Cowboys, and they use Pollard a lot.
Yeah, a lot more.
They use Zeke more,
Yeah.
but Pollard's in for a good number of snaps, and he gets some decent usage every week. So, it's not good for fantasy, but I'm surprised to see the Vikings aren't doing that with Dalvin Cook and Alexander Madison. Getting them both involved. Just spell Dalvin Cook a little bit, give him a break, give him a rest, keep him healthy. But they lean on him, and it usually pays off. So this was probably Cook's best week of the season, if I had to guess, right? Which is actually kind of disappointing that 6 weeks in, 25 points is his best game. But You know what? He's still been good in the weeks he's
He
been
was
healthy.
banged up.
So yeah, he's been banged up. But even the first couple weeks, he had that matchup against Cincy. You would have thought he would have done more. But it is what it is. He's still been good. I'm sure he's top 5 too, or he probably would be if it wasn't for the couple weeks he was out.
Yeah.
Yeah, Justin Herbert kind of had a disappointing game here. We talked about that briefly. Baltimore kind of actually really, for once, the defense showed up and shut him down. Really surprisingly, honestly, I just thought that we would just get torched by Herbert and
Yeah.
Kittle. I thought Eckler and Mike Williams and Keenan would just have like career days on us, but turns out that was not the case. So looking over at Henry's side here, so Henry's kind of struggling these days too, huh? He put up 91 points in this game. Looking at his bench here, he's got McCaffrey, Clyde, and Judy all on IR. Those are three guys you really want back, right? Now he's got Kareem Hunt on IR. Like, he can't catch a break. It's not that he had a bad draft. He's just having bad luck in the injury game. So I think he's going to continue to struggle here for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, Christian McCaffrey's going to be out 3 weeks. Hunt just went on IR. He's going to be out 3 weeks. If they have a bye in there, I'm not 100% sure when they do, but the bye adds another week. Okay, no, both their byes are after they would come back. So
apparently Hunt's gonna miss minimum 3. Apparently it's gonna be more than 3.
Yeah, I heard that, which is not good.
Yeah, we have him too, so it's not.
Yeah, he's been so good too, which is unfortunate. I just think here we go. Godwin, here's one of the other Tampa Bay receivers. Henry's team is just in really bad shape. It's going to be difficult to recover from this. Ooh, he started DeAndre Carter.
Yeah.
Which is actually not a bad start against Kansas City.
No,
but
with what you had to do, yeah.
Yeah, because he had 8 targets the week before, and then boom, back to earth in this game with 1 target. So, things are not running too well for Henry these days. He's kind of in that Chris situation. It's going to take some luck and some waiver wire plays to get back. So, Chad, you take that game. Let's move on to the next game. JT, this is you and Shannon here. So, unfortunately, Shannon kind of routed your team a little bit here with about a 45-point upset. Why don't you run us through your team?
I mean, I wasn't. I'll be honest. I wasn't hugely disappointed given where I was projected. I mean, I came out ahead of where I thought we would finish, but I don't have enough depth. I'm starting Javonte Williams and Tony Pollard. In my flex spots, that's not a super strong position to be in. And part of that is, I've got, guys that I drafted really early on. A-Rob, I drafted him early on, and right now he's basically a wide receiver 3 or 4. Mm-hmm. So you spend a lot of draft capital. That's not where you want to finish. But, if you'd asked me at the beginning of the week, would you be happy with 129 points? I would have said, yeah, that's for who I got going out there. That's not terrible. Mm-hmm. And who I have on the bench, I wasn't really going to do a whole lot better. So, I look at who I ended up playing. Fournette, he went off. Dak went off. AJ Brown, had a nice game. So, I just don't have enough of those guys putting up, 20, 30 points to be able to stay with someone who's going to put up 170.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate because I remember when we had the draft recap. Your team was actually one of my favorites leaving the draft because I had a lot of people on it that I kind of wanted, Zeke and Bobby Trees and Stafford, and just so far a lot of them have, like you said, they've just underperformed based on where you drafted them. Allen Robinson most of all, I would say, because he's played his entire career with really bad quarterbacks. Bad quarterback play is not new to Allen Robinson. He always played through it. He was always just talented enough, and he had enough volume that he could overcome the bad quarterback play and still get you double-digit fantasy points every week. But that's not happening this season. I'm not really sure what's going on, honestly. I don't think it's necessarily Allen Robinson's fault. It just seems like the Bears are even worse than they were under Trubisky or Nick Foles or any of those guys. Somehow, I don't really understand how. So that's unfortunate.
They're just managing to their talent right now. I mean, Fields is willing to throw the ball downfield.
Yeah.
Right. And Robinson is not their downfield threat.
Mm-hmm.
That's Mooney. Right?
Yeah.
So, and I also feel like there's this connection issue. We saw that with AJ Brown and Tannehill when they were on the practice squad, or not the practice squad, but they were in the backups together. Mm-hmm. They developed that rapport. So I feel like Fields is developing a rapport with some of the younger receivers in his stable there, and that's who he's going to go with. And now that Matt Nagy's not calling plays, which is probably a good thing, they're going to run the ball. They're going to try and play defense, and I think that's the strength of their team.
Yeah.
And that's going to mean that whatever. Look, Robinson put up 9.3 points. Again, that's not wide receiver 1 numbers, but that's wide receiver 3-4 numbers. So that's just a loss of draft capital. That's what that is. I mean,
yep.
Calvin Ridley was on bye, so there's nothing I can do about Calvin Ridley being on a bye. And so, but even then, he would have had to put up a pretty big number to stay with 170 points. It's hard to beat someone when they put up that many points.
Right.
You got to put up 135, 140 if you're going to win on a regular basis.
Yep. Especially in this league where it's 2 flex. Calvin Ridley, I would say, is it's been not quite as disappointing as Allen Robinson, obviously, but he's kind of in the talks for that. He's just not what you drafted him to be. He was a guy that it was super high on going into the draft too, because look, Julio was gone. Ridley proved last year that he could be the guy with or without Julio, and all of a sudden now, that team was ripe for him to just really truly break out, and he hasn't scored more than, I don't even think he's had a 20-point game this season. Add to that, he disappeared week 5 for a personal issue, and then he had the bye. So, hopefully week 7 and on is going to be better for Ridley. It's hard to imagine it could be worse.
But you look at Fournette, who was not a high pick. Look at Drake, again, not high pick. Those are value picks for running backs.
Yeah,
those are guys who you were drafting to be, either flex or even on the bench, and they're producing. I mean, Fournette now is the guy in Tampa.
Yeah,
they're the guy. They're leaning on him. He is probably one of the best running back values out there right now, or at least he was in the draft. No one was really picking him high, but now he's producing, RB1 numbers on a regular basis.
Yeah, he beat out Ronald Jones for that job pretty quickly, and then with Gio going down, it's probably Fournette's job to lose at this point. So I definitely agree with that. Just real quick, back to your team. I do like Darrell Henderson a lot. I think he's going to work out. I think he's going to continue to be great. Stafford's great. Javonte Williams, this was a week without. Oh no, Melvin Gordon played this week. That's right, but he was kind of banged up, so I think we all kind of expected a little bit more from Javonte. But that Denver situation is kind of a mess. But yeah, real quick, talking about Shannon's team here. Obviously Dak had a great game. Kenyon Drake was even a fill-in. He had 21 points in this game, but if you look at his volume, he had 4 rushes, and he only had 1 catch, I believe. I don't know how many targets exactly, but that's really low volume. Basically 5 opportunities, and he turned it into 21 points because he had, a couple touchdowns. So that was lucky because she had to fill in for Debo, who was on bye. She still managed to pull out massive points here. And
like James Conner, man. You just give him the ball near the goal line, and he'll get it.
Yeah, exactly. Get a couple touchdowns with minimal yardage. So. Big week from Shannon. Shannon, congrats on. It just sucks for anybody who has to play Shannon, honestly. Even if you have a good week, like she's now put up like 170 in 3 weeks in a row, I think. So, and she had that. Remember, like 2 weeks ago, she put up like 250 or something crazy.
Yeah.
She's just crushing it. Actually, just real quick, I want to see. She has 1,020 points in first, and Jimmy, who has Derrick Henry, is in second in terms of points scored with 934. So about an 80-point difference between first and second there in points scored, which is pretty crazy. And then Ashley's the only other person to score over 900. So just to kind of give a point of reference for where she is. And then, her husband down at 624. So she's got almost 400 points scored more than her husband 6 weeks in. Like, that's insane. All right, let's move on. Talk about Chad, your game. Just kidding, we already did. Talk about Kate and Chris here. Soy Joy versus Only Makes Boys. Ooh, Kate squeaked out a win in this one, huh? 111 to 104. This was our lowest scoring matchup. If Justin and Melissa had the highest, then this was definitely the lowest. Kind of a battle for the bottom here. Jalen Waddle, how about that? How about that, JT? What do you think of Jalen Waddle?
What I think of Jalen Waddle?
Mm-hmm.
He's a legit player, but the challenge they're having with him is they can't get the ball downfield, right? Mm-hmm. So They're throwing screens to him. They're doing quick throws to him. He's doing the most with it, but they just don't have enough time to throw the ball deep downfield. That is a criticism folks have of this offense is there's really only one deep threat they have when he's healthy, and that's Devontae Parker. And when he's healthy is always that's kind of it, right? He's never healthy. And I'm not sure Tua is a downfield thrower. He's not. He is not the guy who's going to throw the ball deep downfield. If anything, Brissett's a better downfield thrower, and we know Fitzpatrick was not afraid of doing that either. So,
right.
Waddle he could easily get 100 catches this year. That is clearly within reason. But he could end up just being kind of a Juju type where he catches the ball so close to the line of scrimmage, he's got to do everything with his legs.
Yeah.
He can do that, but I'm not sure that's I'm not sure that's the best use of his talent for someone who was drafted, in the top 5.
Right. Yeah. He was one of the top receivers off the board. Played with Tua in college, right? So you'd think he would have a leg up there, but yeah.
He had think about it. He had Devontae Smith and Henry Ruggs and those guys. That's pretty formidable.
Competition
trio to have in college at the same time.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's a shame, but maybe they'll get him more involved as the season goes on. We'll see. You think they got to do something different there. So, Devin Singletary, single-digit game. He actually looked kind of good in this game last night. I thought he looked pretty decent there in some of his early game rushes. They kind of just switch him and Zach Moss up all the time, so I don't really know how you start either of these guys with confidence. I would start Zach Moss over Singletary in a given week because they tend to bring in Moss at the goal line a little bit more. But once again, single-digit week for Devin Singletary. I just love victory lapping that every week. Just Devin Singletary being garbage for fantasy. Travis Kelce, good game here. She kind of had to piece together some people this week because she got absolutely destroyed by injuries last week with Barkley being out, Galladay being out, Goddard had COVID, Russell Wilson got hurt. Much like Henry's team, just the injury bug has caught up to Kate, unfortunately. So she managed to win though. So she's 3-3. So it's unfortunate because you look at she's got almost the lowest points scored. Only Chris has scored less points than her, but she's in 8th place. So she's managed to squeak out some more wins than people like Justin, who we saw just had 170 points. So, but sometimes that's all you need to do is just get enough for a win. Looking at Chris's team here, Mahomes continues to be Mahomes. I think I saw that he is quietly having actually the best season of his career stat-wise. You wouldn't think it because the Chiefs are not doing as great as you would expect. And Mahomes is throwing some picks, and you just kind of think of all these things that make it sound like he's not doing great. But passing for a ton of yards, passing a bunch of touchdowns still. So still looks good. Just real quick here, Kadarius Toney looked good last week. Got hurt early this week, but he was on his way to already a good game. I mean, he got hurt early first quarter, I think, and he had in that time.
Yeah. He caught 3 passes all in the first drive.
Yeah. So, I mean, he was kind of rolling. It would be really cool to see what he can do when, he's healthy. We kind of saw it last week, right? He had 180-plus yards before he threw a punch and got kicked out. So Chris had to piece together, McCall Hardman. I would never want to have to start a Chiefs wide receiver outside of Tyreek Hill personally, but because you never know when they're going to get you 0 or 20 points. Jamal Williams, it's hard to start, honestly. Swift is really the only play there. I know Jamal's had his games, he's had his volume, but I don't personally want to start anybody but Swift. He had Marlon Mack. He had to put some real depth pieces into his lineup this week to get anything. Dawson Knox broke something in his hand. Tim Patrick.
His best RB sitting on the bench.
Yeah.
Other than Mixon, right? Other than Mixon, his best RB was on the bench.
Yep. Yeah, Chris has had some injury problems too because Mixon's been hurt. Carson's on IR. Fuller we haven't really seen yet, but IR. And then DJ Chark also IR. So McKissick had a good game here on his bench. Probably gets moved into the lineup here. I don't think Mack's startable at this point. I truly still think they're trying to shot Mack. I think before the trade deadline, somebody picks him up. I really do think that. Although who knows because the Colts and Frank Reich don't seem to know how to use their running backs effectively, so maybe they'll keep Marlon Mack to keep rushing for 12 yards a game on 5 carries. So, okay, I think that about does it for this low-scoring matchup. We'll talk about my matchup last here. It's me versus Scott. Um, this game ended up being a little bit closer than I wanted to. I had like a 40-plus point lead going into last night, and he had Josh Allen. I had Tannehill. Um, and obviously Tannehill's been pretty poopy. He didn't need to do much, though, when Derrick Henry rushes for 140 yards and 3 touchdowns. So can't blame too much on Tannehill here. Lockett, uh, kind of disappointing with Geno Smith, but volume is still there. 7 targets. We'll see. We'll see how that relationship evolves. I do expect Russell Wilson back sooner than probably you would think. I think the projection was, 6 weeks for the surgery or whatever, the recovery time. I think he's probably going to beat that by maybe a week or so. CeeDee Lamb finally had like a phenomenal game.
It's crazy.
Yeah, with that overtime catch. He was 1 yard. He had 149 yards in this game. One more, I would have gotten the 150-yard bonus. So that always sucks, but I will take 39 points any day. Jonathan Taylor had a phenomenal game too, even though I think he only had like 2 or 3 carries or 5 carries or something in the first half or whatever, which is just ridiculous. I mean, he's so talented. Like, give him the ball. He's easily the most talented player on the Colts. It's not T.Y. Hilton anymore. It's not Michael Pittman. It's Jonathan Taylor. So, like, and this was Houston. Why would you not just let him just go to town on him early? But whatever. Nobody else on my team really worth noting here. Let's talk about Scott's team. So Josh Allen, another solid game here. Also probably in MVP contention, if I had to guess, up there with Kyler Murray. I can't believe the Buffalo Bills actually lost this game. It was pretty close for the most part. I mean, I thought the Bills looked better, honestly, but Titans managed to squeak out a win here. Kind of undeservedly, I would say, but whatever. They got that. Thielen bounced back here, 33 points from Thielen. Noah Fant had a great game here, almost 100 yards, touchdown, a bunch of grabs. We'll see how that usage goes down as Jerry Jeudy comes back. Let's see. Anybody else here we should talk about? Latavius Murray, he started him. I couldn't believe it. Freaking he starts him and then he gets like a touchdown. I'm like, oh, are you kidding me? This is how this week's going to go, getting outscored by Latavius freaking Murray.
Yeah.
But, oh well, it worked out. I managed to win this game. So I think that about covers the matchups for week 6. All right, let's talk about week 7 matchups. Yeah.
Yep.
Let's start with let's go with Ashley and Chris. Only makes boys.
So is this even worth going over?
Probably not. Honestly, I think Ashley's obviously going to win. Chris is dealing with too many injuries. He just doesn't have the personnel or the depth to really pull anything out here. Ashley had Kamara on a bye. She gets Kamara back against Seattle, whose run defense is very, very bad. So I don't see any way in which Ashley loses this game short of her entire lineup just falling apart. So we'll move on from that one. Who's next? And stop me if you guys have anything to add here. I have
not for that week.
Yeah, not for that week. Justin and Scott, who I have next here. 2-4, 3-3, 9th place for 7th place here. All right, Justin's lineup. Looking at them. Who's he got on bye real quick? We're into this is week 7 is Bye-pocalypse too. Did you guys notice this? How many good teams are on bye?
It is absolutely.
It's like they took all the best teams in the league and just gave them the exact same bye week.
Well, the Jags are in there. I don't know about that one.
Okay, all the best teams plus the Jags.
Yeah.
Because I'm actually curious.
Yeah, I think it's like something out of the top 10 running backs are on bye this week.
Yeah. Okay.
Eckler,
Let's see.
James Robinson, Cook.
Eckler is, Najee is.
It's the Bills,
is.
the Cowboys, the Jags, the Chargers, the Vikings, and the Steelers. So Stephon Diggs, CeeDee Lamb, James Robinson, Eckler, Justin Jefferson, Najee Harris, like
Cook.
Cook. Like there's a ton of big names, that are missing this week. So if people can make it through week 7, I imagine their teams are going to be a lot better. This week sucks for me in the other league. I have Eckler and Najee. So I'm starting basically myself at running back 2.
Oh, that's negative points there.
Just to get tackled once, I just
Calvin
die in the
breaks his
backfield.
back, first play.
I don't even get hit; I just break my back just immediately. All right, looking at Justin's lineup here. Oh, anyways, I wanted to look at who he has here on his bench. So
Real quick,
Sanders
I
on the
would
bye.
pay to look at you suit up on an NFL field. That
uh,
would be hilarious
it
to
would be
watch.
it would be funny, wouldn't it? Um, you'd have to pay me a
All
lot of
right,
money
back to
to go out
Justin.
there and get
That
tackled
would
by
be a
one of those
lot.
dudes. Like, I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine. Um, all right, Michael Thomas still, just real quick, in his IR since day one. Apparently not close to coming back. Did you guys hear this? So he's
Mm-mm.
eligible to return, I think,
I heard, yeah.
very
I thought it was a couple
shortly.
weeks.
Well, he can come off. I thought it was week 6 or 7 that he was eligible to play or whatever. But yeah, apparently he's not close. Um,
I
so
mean, that's not surprising.
no, I mean we kind of knew that early on that this was probably not just going to be a 5 or 6 week thing. I think it came out close to the draft that he had the surgery really late. Apparently, he could have had it much earlier and probably be
Yeah.
back to form by now. So I think you know what, and the thing is too, like you don't know what you're going to get out of Michael Thomas when he comes back. It's not going to be Michael Thomas of 2 years ago when he had Drew Brees throwing the ball to him. He's got Jameis now, and Jameis can air the ball out, but he's not as good. He's not Drew Brees, like so. Justin could hold on to him for 6, 7, 8, 9 weeks. He comes back, and then he's just okay. He's like barely worth starting. You know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah.
a big gamble for somebody you probably spend a 5th round pick on. It's probably why.
Which was way too high.
Yeah, I don't have him in any leagues, Chad. I don't think you have him in any leagues. So,
Nope.
JT, do you have him anywhere?
I don't.
Yeah. So it's just
No.
too big of a risk, honestly. I I've
It's not
never.
worth holding on to him
Yeah.
for the expectation that he might produce.
Exactly. I've never had success drafting somebody who was injured to start a season, um, and that person, returning value later on. It almost never pays off. Generally, if there's something going on with a person before the season starts, take heed because it will probably not work out well. I look back to 2018, I think, and Le'Veon Bell when he held out. Every week it was like, oh, he's coming back. Oh, he's not going to hold out anymore because he's going to lose this amount of money. And then he did it the whole season, and it's just like it just went on and on and on. Anyways, okay, Justin's lineup here. He's got solid guys still, some okay matchups. He's losing Sanders and Diggs here to the bye. Um, you know, Gronk's back. Hopefully, do we know Gronk's back for sure?
No.
Yeah, I'd be wary about that.
He's still questionable.
Yeah, and one of the things that Gronk said was that the reason he wanted to hold off on, or the reason he retired in the first place is he didn't like feeling like he had to come back and play as soon as possible from an injury. So I think he and Arians and the coaching staff are okay with just giving him time to rest. He's an asset to the team, but he's obviously not necessary for them to win. Rogers, Evans, Parker, all these guys could go off, so no point speculating too much. Let's talk about Scott's team real quick. DK Metcalf, he's got Mac Jones in here because, oh my gosh, look at his team. He's got 4 buys, major players here, Claypool, Thielen, and Josh Allen among them. David
Chubb's
Montgomery
out.
on by. Chubb's out. Trying to trade him for Chubb currently, but he doesn't seem interested, so we shall see. He's got Bateman in his lineup. Who Bateman had
The only position right there where Scott has the advantage is tight end. I mean, every
Yeah.
other position.
And even then, I would say,
he's sort
does
of
he?
outmanned.
Like
what it looks like to me.
Gesicki had some solid volume this past week, and he's had good games. I mean, I wouldn't even say that Fant's a huge upgrade over Gesicki, personally. Maybe he's got the
I've
advantage
never
there.
liked Fant.
Yeah,
Ever.
he's just okay. Like he's talented. I think he's big, but I mean,
He's bad
yeah.
quarterback play.
I mean, right? It's the same thing. It's kind of the same thing Gesicki's experiencing. I would paint them in a similar light. I bet in most rankings they're probably 1 or 2 spots apart from each other.
Not that far apart.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Hollywood.
they're not that far apart.
Hollywood Brown, I expect a better game this week. He had another drop touchdown this past week, but he caught I think every other pass. 5 targets, 4 catches. That one catch, if he had gotten it, would have been a touchdown. But that was not his fault. It was kind of a tough catch. It was kind of in front of him.
Apparently,
so.
he jumped too early or mistimed it.
Oh, okay. So maybe it was partly his fault, but it just in the replay, I just remember the ball was in front of him.
Closed.
So could he have gotten it? Maybe. But DK Metcalf, I think Metcalf and is going to struggle a little bit with Geno Smith. He's not going to be airing it out like Russell was. So definitely, temper expectations when it comes to Metcalf here. Mac Jones in his lineup against the Jets. Okay. Mac Jones has just been okay. I would never want to start him, but you got to do what you got to do. I'm definitely going to give this one to Justin. I don't know if you guys disagree, but
Yeah,
probably safe to
I
say.
don't.
I think Scott's too many buys for him this week, and who he's subbing in, I'm not overly crazy about. So,
Yeah.
all right, let's go and talk about Henry and Kate is who I have next. So this is two of our lower scoring teams. I would say it's probably Henry, Kate, and Chris's team who are the most banged up, kind of struggling the most right now. So Henry's got Kareem Hunt on injured reserve. Let's see who he's got, who he can even sub in. Who is Henry's RB2? Right now,
Waiver wire.
nobody. Yeah, waiver wire, exactly. He literally doesn't have a second running back he can play right now. So he's going to be looking at guys. I don't know who's out there right now. Dearness Johnson, the
Yeah.
Felton guy, like some of those Browns running backs, I guess. Nobody I'm excited about.
Does Henry watch these videos?
Probably not. Probably not.
Okay, because
Yeah.
Lawrence should be dropped. He should never been on his roster.
Yeah, that's taking up a critical. I mean, he filled that bench spot. Look at that, Chad.
Yeah, he
He
did.
finally do that. But I agree.
Conklin.
He does not need to be. He doesn't need three quarterbacks right now when his roster's in as much pain as it
Yeah.
is. Judy should be coming back in a week or two, though. That's good. Yeah, probably don't need Conklin rostered. Second quarterback or a second tight end who's on the bye. Definitely could do some cleanup here of this to maybe help himself. Again, I'm not sure there's a whole lot out on the waiver wire that he can definitely pick up, but anything's better
Actually,
than
this week.
Trevor Lawrence, who's barely startable, and some of these other guys. Joe Burrow. I would,
Calvin, maybe you could trade him Rashad Penny. Maybe
Yeah,
could
there you
trade him
go.
Rashad Penny. You might get the start.
Yeah, Henry, I'll give you Rashad Penny for McCaffrey.
There you go.
All right, Kate's lineup here. She's starting Jameis this week. There's Jalen Waddle again. Jalen Waddle's got a good matchup against Atlanta. Galladay and Barkley are in their lineup. We don't know if either of these guys are going to play. My guess is, at best, one of the two play. I think Galladay's closer to playing than Barkley is. Have you guys heard anything to the otherwise?
Nope.
Yeah, I haven't heard much honestly about either of these. I guess we'll learn more in the next few days as the practices ramp up for the week, whether they're practicing or not. So
Yeah, and she's got Booker on her bench, so she can at least sub in Booker
Yeah.
for Barkley if she needs to.
Yep, she's got a pivot. Let's see who else. Goddard there in her flex. Who's COVID. He should be back though. Goddard should be a better play now with Ertz gone.
Yeah.
I think he'll be worth flexing for sure. Given her depth, I never personally want to flex a tight end, but you got to do what you got to do when it comes to buys and injuries. So I think there's certainly worse options than Dallas Goedert without Ertz there. So I think she's going to be hurting. I think honestly, Henry's got to make some waiver wire moves, otherwise he's got no chance at all. And
It's a close one.
Right.
yeah, like Kate's played it's probably going to be the lowest scoring matchup of the week, just like last week, right? So
I think I give it to Kate.
yeah, I would too. Honestly, I think she's just got Henry just has too much of a mess at this point. He barely has people he can start. Kate at least has some starters. They're not necessarily who you want to start, but I could see both these guys going sub 100 this week in terms of points. I think that's probably going to be a likely outcome. So let's move on from that. We'll just guess Kate for now. I've got JT, your matchup with my sister Melissa here, 11th place versus 4th place. All right, what do you think, JT?
Detroit.
Ooh, revenge matchup.
I like the weak spot for me is still the weak spot, which is the third and fourth wide receiver are weak spots. And that I like where I'm at. I feel like I've got enough. I feel like I don't want to have to lose Zeke for Javonte Williams, but I feel like that's not the worst outcome here given who I'm playing. And I do feel like the Rams are set up for having a lot of success against the Lions this week, so I'm kind of counting on that being some major points. On the other hand, I'm playing Kyler and Tyreek and some other Jamar Chase, who's probably set to go off against the Ravens. So, I like my chances here. At least Yahoo thinks there's a 50-50 shot. I tend to think I'm probably on the weaker end of this matchup, though.
Yeah, I don't know. Actually, just quickly looking, I like your team better this week, honestly.
She has to
Outside
play
of
Mark Ingram.
yeah, exactly. Like Ingram in the lineup's not good. Um, Josh Jacobs against Philly. Okay, Josh Jacobs doesn't excite me as a player. She's obviously got some other talent. Jamar Chase and Murray and Hill, like you said, Sutton should be fine on volume alone. So she has some decent people, but I like a lot of your matchups. I think Stafford against Detroit. I think he's going to light them up. I think he's going to say, "Look, this is what you guys are missing. Revenge game narrative. He's going to go and he's going to put up 40 points. That's my guess. That's what you're going to get from Stafford.
It's
Cooper
at
Cup.
home too.
Yeah, it's a home game, revenge game. I think Stafford and Henderson are going to go nuts this week. Um, Ridley, I think, back from his personal issue against Miami. I think this could be his best week as well. Bobby Trees, same thing against Detroit. I think all the the Rams guys are going to light it up. Cup Woods, Henderson, Stafford. I think they're all going to get a piece. Um, Javonte Williams, I think you said is probably the weakest part of your roster right now with Zeke on by. But you know what? And he's there. He's involved. Like he just he gets a touchdown and he's fine. He's a serviceable RB2. Hunter Henry's been pretty good.
Yeah, he's not bad for a bye week option. Yeah, he's not
No,
bad for a bye
absolutely.
week.
Yeah, there's far worse. I mean, look, you could be Henry starting like basically me again at his RB2. Like, Javonte Williams is far superior option to that. So Hunter Henry's kind of emerged as the better of the two tight ends there that New England paid a boatload of money to. So I like that play at tight end. Nothing wrong there. Corey Davis back from injury. He's a volume guy.
Bye week.
Bye week. Yeah, oh, sorry. Well, he was injured before that, but then he had the bye week, right? So he's back. He's a volume guy. I like him. Allen Robinson against Tampa Bay I like this week because obviously you can't really run on Tampa Bay. So they're going to have to air it out. Darnell Mooney and Allen Robinson. Yeah, this could be Allen Robinson's best game, which I'm not saying it's going to be like a great game, but his best game so far is 10.4 points. I think he could beat that in this matchup. Um,
Yeah.
So, all in all, I like a lot of your guys. Melissa has a lot of talent on her team with Murray and Tyreek, especially. I mean, those are phenomenal matchups, right? Like Tyreek against Tennessee, that could be a shootout because both their defenses are really not good. Kyler Murray against Houston is going to be a bloodbath. So there's some things to fear on her side. I wouldn't be overly scared again by Jacobs or Ingram or AJ Green, but so it's close. I like your team this week. But the projections are probably accurate here, 50-50. I do lean your team. So hopefully you get that.
Yeah, I feel like we'll be competitive.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to get blown out like last week. So I think it's going to be much closer, whatever the outcome may be. Okay, let's move on here. Let's see, Chad, are we down to your matchup? No, we already. Oh, you and I play this week. Holy crap.
Yeah, I play
Okay,
you.
all right. We'll do Jimmy and Shannon here. They're at the bottom of my list. So this is first versus third. So this should be. Oh my gosh! Look at their projected points right now. They're getting wrecked by buys. Holy crap! The two highest scoring teams. Look at their projections: 92 and 92. It's kind of funny actually. Let's see who they have on buy first of all. Nobody? Have they not? I mean, Kirk Cousins for Shannon, but she's not going to play him anyways. Max Williams, who's on IR. Actually, is Max Williams out for the season?
Yeah, he's done for the year.
So she could
He's
slot
done.
somebody else in there. So Jimmy's got Justin Jefferson, Mike Williams on bye. Shannon has Dak Prescott, Eckler on bye. So I mean, those are big names, right? Like, there's Jimmy's wide receiver 1 and 2. Boom, same week. So let's see who he's gonna have to start at wide receiver. Let's just play a game real quick. Julio, I guess Julio probably plays. Haven't heard anything.
I don't think Julio does.
You don't think he does? Okay. I could see it going either way. He missed the past 2 weeks with a hamstring issue. Comes in this game, re-aggravates the hamstring issue. So, I mean, the dude basically just lives with a hamstring injury. So I don't know how you predict any given week whether he's going to play or not. So, but assuming he plays, he'll slot Julio in. He'll slot Beckham in. Beckham's probably a decent play actually this week. So there's his wide receiver 1 and 2. He's got Hilton in his lineup. T.Y. Hilton. We don't know if he's going to play either, so that's a question mark. He left this game with his what's he got going on? A quad injury or some sort of soft tissue injury. He's got Amon-Ra St. Brown. Doesn't Amon-Ra have a brother that plays in the league?
Yeah, Equanimous.
That's right. Yeah.
Equiminis. I think
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
his name.
Yeah. Yes.
Who?
Is he still in the league though?
He is. Equinemius.
He
You're 100
did
percent
play for the
right.
Packers for a bit.
Yeah, I don't know where he's at now, but I'm pretty sure he's still in the league. Um, I just could not tell you what team he plays for. Okay, so I'm just trying to see who else here. Jimmy might move around. Yeah, okay, let's look at Shannon's team. She can slot in. Oh, Kirk Cousins on by, so Shannon's gonna have to drop somebody to go pick up a quarterback. So if you're Shannon, let's play this game. Who do you drop? She's got to drop somebody. And Max Williams doesn't help her because he's an IR slot. So
Crowder?
yeah, I guess so.
Probably
Christian
Crowder.
Kirk, Crowder
I'd
or
rather
Kirk.
Kirk than Crowder. Zach Wilson's garbage.
Yeah, I wouldn't be dropping Kirk.
If Green or Hopkins for some reason gets injured, you just plug in Kirk automatically.
I guess I agree with that. I do like Jamison Crowder's consistent volume though. You know what I mean? Like if you just need a spot start, I kind of like because the problem with Christian Kirk is you have DeAndre Hopkins and you have Christian Kirk and you have AJ Green, you have Rondale Moore, and you have Zach Ertz now. So you have a lot of mouths to feed in that offense. Like I know Kyler throws a good bit, but you know who do you have in New
So
York?
like Kirk and so I heard the stat today that Kirk and Green and Hopkins have all been targeted at a minimum 32 times.
Yeah.
Most between them 32 to 38 times. They all have like 300 and something yards receiving.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not really getting a huge benefit one way or the other with any of these guys. Maybe you get maybe he gets more, activity, in terms of scoring, but you're not really losing a whole lot by having him on your bench. I don't think.
Yeah, that's fair. Probably talent wise, just surrounding talent of the team, and you figure out who his quarterback is. And like you said, I know his snap percentage is high, his target share is high. So Rondale Moore is definitely the black sheep of that group that I listed. So
Yeah.
it is Kirk, Green, and Hopkins at the forefront there. So I guess yeah, you guys are talking me into it. Probably keep Kirk over Crowder. It's just I always liked Crowder because again, it's what Elijah Moore and him and Corey Davis. And that's kind of it. And Crowder's, consistently for the couple weeks he's played, had pretty solid target value for what that's worth on the kind of abysmal Jets offense. So yeah, probably drop Crowder, go pick up somebody. Be curious to see who she ends up slotting in. Let's see, she gets Mike Davis back this week and Debo Samuel, so they'll probably go in for Kenyon Drake. Probably move Fournette up to the Eckler spot. Does she have another running back? Okay, Mike Davis in for Drake probably, and then slot.
Ooh, she's gonna
got
drop
Mike
two
Davis.
people. She needs a defense.
Well, she can just drop Pittsburgh unless she wants to hold them.
Oh.
I don't think they've been good enough to like carry through. Personally, I mean, just looking at their past few games, I mean they've faced some tough teams, but they haven't scored more than 8 points since week 1. So it's not like they're lighting the world on fire as a fantasy defense. So I would probably just drop them and stream. But yeah, I think just based on the people she can shift around, getting Debo and Mike Davis back into her lineup, I think that gives her a big advantage because looking at Jimmy's team now, he's got to sub in people for Justin Jefferson and Mike Williams. And again, we talked about Julio and Beckham, and they're okay. I think I give it to Shannon here. I think she's going to pull the win out. Derrick Henry against Kansas City is juicy, though, given how bad Kansas City's defense is. I think he's going to run another train on them. Because it doesn't matter if they're playing from behind, they're still going to give it to Derrick Henry. He never gets phased out of the game. He's game script proofed. Even if he doesn't catch the ball a bunch, they're still going to feed it to him.
Yeah, I give it to Shannon.
Yeah, I think she's got the better depth, honestly. She doesn't really have you look at her players, and she's not sporting like some of these other teams who have really had to dredge the bottom of the barrel. They've got guys on the roster like Marlon Mack and some of these people who barely touch the ball. And meanwhile, Shannon has somebody that like her entire lineup is somebody you'd be happy to start basically every week. Any of these guys. So just solid depth all around. So give it to Shannon for sure. All right, let's move on to the final matchup here. Chad, that is you and I. So we play each other this week. I have not really looked too much at this other than sort of what my needs were for the week. I got Tana Tillahan, who's been disappointing, but again, Kansas City is kind of a juicy matchup for him. Hopefully a get right game because otherwise I am screwed. I'm missing Deontay Johnson and CeeDee Lamb this week, which is not fun. Um, I don't have particular great matchups. I don't have anybody I'm particularly confident in this week. Gibson might not even be a start this week. He might be out. So, not a ton of confidence in my roster this week. I'll be honest with you. Not the best week here, and I'm not even really. I got a couple guys, big guys on bye, but I'm not sure they're to blame for my problems this week. So, how about your team here?
Well, I got no tight end. I got both of mine on bye. I got Dalvin Cook on bye. I got Herbert on bye. So I'm probably gonna drop Wentz to find a different quarterback.
He's been pretty good though.
Yeah, but one of his receivers got injured. I don't know if he's gonna play. And if Ty doesn't play, that's 2 receivers down. I don't like it.
Oh yeah, Paris Campbell got hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's right.
I do have Cup against Detroit, which that could be monstrous. AJ Brown looked really good when Tannell actually threw it to him.
Yeah, he did nothing in the first half, and then he had like 9 targets in the second half.
He had 1 target. He had 1 target in the half.
He had the. That's because he had the Chipotle runs for that first half.
Yeah,
he had to get past that. So it took him a while to recover. Apparently, he was getting like an IV on the sideline, which I know isn't super uncommon for like any players, but that's generally not great when you have to get an IV and you're feeling like crap during a game. So this was definitely it was good to see AJ Brown involved like this. So I'm a little afraid of him. I'm going to be honest with you. I got to give it to your team this week. I think you got better matchups like Damian Harris against the Jets. I mean, that's just dirty. Cordero Patterson's back against Miami. That's dirty. Like all these matchups, I know you got a bunch of people on bye. You got a lot of talent on bye, but you'll solve those, and I think you'll be fine. I definitely lean your team this week for sure.
Let's see.
Damian Williams. Who are you? Okay, you can summon Gaskin.
I'm gonna put no. I'm not
Mooney. You gonna play Mooney?
I'm putting Mooney there.
Yeah, I would too. Well, Gaskin's got a sweet matchup, but it's hard to trust him.
He's not startable at all.
Yeah.
I'm probably never starting him again unless Malcolm Brown gets injured.
Right. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, Mooney's probably a good play here. Mooney's had decent volume too. So.
I hate Brian Flores. Oh my god.
As does JT probably. All right, so that takes
they can't decide.
No, they really can't. All right, let's see here. We'll just wrap it up here in the next couple minutes. Anything else you guys want to add? Any other comments?
No, just the fact that these projections are terrible for everybody.
Yeah, let's see what we got here.
Besides Ashley. Ashley's the highest with 144.
I think the problem is a lot of people still have like until waivers run tomorrow morning.
Yeah,
I think
true.
a lot of people haven't slotted in like replacements and stuff. Because you look at like Jimmy and Shannon down there in the 90s, and then Henry and I agree. With this being the Bipocalypse week, it definitely does not surprise me too much. Oh, that's funny. Apparently, Chris just dropped DJ Chark, so we're gonna see who he picks up for him in DJ Chark's absence. Just taking a real quick look here. I think Shannon is the top scorer this week, and I think Chris or Henry are the lowest scorer this week. That's who I'm going with. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think you called it on the Kate versus is it Kate versus Henry?
Yeah.
That's going to be I think that's going to be a low scoring affair for sure.
Yep.
So I can see one of them being the low scorer there.
Yeah, one of those two or Chris. I mean, they're all just kind of like their teams are just so banged up right now. It's hard to see how any of them finish outside of the bottom 3 this week. Again, hard to see how Shannon finishes outside of the top 3 with her team as good as it is and the depth as good as it is. I think Ashley will have a good week. We said JT, you've got a close matchup. I think you guys will have good weeks. So, it'll be interesting to see. It'll be kind of cool to get past this week 7, where there's just so many good players on bye. It's unbelievable how just all the top teams got scheduled to be off, or many of the top teams got scheduled to be off this week. But when they have so many weeks, it's like, why are there 6 teams on a bye? I don't quite understand how they spread them out, because we have byes from week 6. We just finished week 6. 6 was the first bye week, right? Or was it 5?
I think 6.
So
6 through week what? Like 12? 13?
No, I think 14. 14
is it 14 now?
14.
Yeah.
Because it used to go through week 13 last season, but they've added a game, so probably 14 makes sense. So what is that, like 8 weeks? So 32 divided by 8. I mean, 4 teams per week is what you would think. So I don't get why they have some weeks with more and some weeks with less. I don't really understand how the scheduling works, but
Well, I mean, in theory, you would do each team would do 2 buys, right? And then you would stagger it so that each team had it early and each team had it late. But as it is, you've got a lot of teams who may be unhealthy right now, and they really need to buy, and they're not going to get a buy until
yeah,
week 12, 13, or 14,
yeah,
and that's a severe disadvantage to them.
Brutal.
yeah, that sucks.
You know?
Yeah, it's like that's the other thing too is like when I think last season you could have a buy as early as like week 5 or maybe even 4, something stupid like that. And that's just so weird to me. Like your team's probably fine that early in the season. It's like eating lunch at like 9:30 a.m. You know, it's like I don't want to eat this early.
Right.
Give me some more time
Right.
here before you give me a little break. So okay, all right. Well, with that said, I'm gonna wrap up here our week 6 recap, week 7 previews. Good luck to everybody this week. Chad,
Thank you, Calvin. Thanks for having me, guys.
yeah, absolutely. Thanks for joining us, JT here.
Yeah, thank you.
It's nice having a guest on here. So, all right, guys, good luck. We will talk to you all next week.
Good luck.